Hello, once again. I'm Pastor Ron Bowman, and I'd like to welcome you to Hope TV. Yes, you heard it correctly, Hope TV. You see, hope is defined as a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. You see, in today's world, there's so much that's going on. Life is busy, or we are busy with life. And sometimes we even forget to have hope for a better tomorrow, because we're so consumed with these things of the world that we even lose ourselves. And so today, I'd like to touch on a subject that's called Life is About Choices. Oh, yes, you heard it correctly. Life is about choices. But the most dramatic thing about a choice is that we make choices or decisions every day, because decisions is just a synonym for the word choice. We make decisions every day, and we have no clue about the decisions that we made. Oh, yes, I know you're looking at me and say, okay, Pastor Ron, how can I make a decision and not even know about the decision that I made? Well, I'll explain it to you. I am so glad that you asked the question. See, I'll give you a few examples. Every day, we are blessed to see another day. And once we open our eyes, we have a decision to make. Do I lay in the bed for a few more minutes? Do I get out the bed? And because it's just so natural, we don't even think about the choice that we made. And so if your decision is to get out the bed, now you have another decision. What do you do? Do you first go to the restroom? Do you first turn around and go to the kitchen to get you something to drink? Do you grab the remote, turn on the TV? What is it that you do? But because we have become so accustomed to a routine in life, we are operating out of routine that we don't even realize the decisions that we're making. And that's what it's all about. That's why I simply said life is about choice. And so the things that occur in this world really start to dictate the choices that we actually make. So let's talk about this little thing called coronavirus. You see, before Corona came, there really wasn't too much going on that impacted the world. And really hear me well. There wasn't too much that was going on that was even impacting just this country. And because there wasn't a lot going on, then you made choices that you thought was just best for you, because you were only focusing on you, and if you have a family, your family or the people that you care about. But see, if we go back in a little bit of history, the last major thing that occurred in the United States that really caught people attention, but it didn't affect the entire United States, was Hurricane Katrina. See, when Hurricane Katrina occurred, people looked, people had their own comments, but because they weren't living there, it really didn't impact them. So they just went on with normal life. The biggest thing that occurred before Hurricane Katrina was 9/11. Now, 9/11 impacted a larger portion of the United States, but because it didn't impact everybody, then people just went on with their normal life. They continued to do things out of routine and not really paying attention to the choices that they made. And so I just gave you some examples of what you do when you wake up in the morning time, but how you're not even making a conscious decision because you developed a routine. It's the same thing if you're driving to work. If you have to drive and if you decide to utilize public transportation, the majority of people, they leave their house at a set time, they drive a certain way, they arrive at the train station, bus stop for a set time, they get on the bus. If they're at the beginning, they tend to sit in a normal seat, they tend to sit and talk to the same people, then they get off the bus, the train, whatever, and they go on with their day. A routine, a routine, a routine. But you see, with coronavirus, all of a sudden, your routine never worked. Your routine did not fit the current situation. And so that word choice is defined as an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. Yes, the possibilities. And so that's what I'm going to spend a few moments of your time talking about today. What do I do? How do I make choices that are good for me? How do I make choices that are good for me? Now, you might have been expecting me to say, how do you make good choices for yourself? But no, you need to personalize it. So repeat after me. How do I make good choices for me? Well, there's 8 things that I would recommend that you consider in order to make a good choice for me, to make a good choice for yourself. You see, the first decision, you have to ask yourself, is this a normal situation? Yes, you heard it correctly. Is this a normal situation? So utilizing coronavirus, the first question you would ask yourself was the first question I asked myself. Is this a normal situation? What I would do in a normal situation is not the same thing that I will do in an abnormal situation. My choices are going to be different. My decision making is going to be different. If I'm in a normal situation and I come up with an abnormal choice, there's going to be some problems that occur. Or if my situation is abnormal and I choose to make a normal decision, there are consequences that are not going to be so good for making choices based in that particular arena. Going back to Hurricane Katrina, we saw videos, we heard stories of how people continue to make normal decisions in an abnormal situation. Okay, Hurricane Katrina ain't happening every day, so let's talk about what does occur. See, there's this little thing called crime. Crime is occurring every day. Crime has a way of touching you even when you're not even involved in the crime. See, back in the days, the late 80s and the 90s, there was this big thing called carjacking. Now, you see, carjacking, people became terrified. And as they researched carjacking, the majority of carjackings occurred at a traffic light. Yeah, you heard that correctly, at a traffic light. And there were people that, as they interviewed them to find out exactly what happened, people said, the light was red, and I saw the person coming, and I knew the person was going to carjack me. But the light did not turn green. So really think about it. You see, in a normal situation, we are trained that when the light is red, you don't go until it's green. And because of that, people are in a normal situation when they stopped at the traffic light. But then, when they believed that the person was going to come to either take or cause bodily harm, their situation went from normal to abnormal. But because of the choice that they made, which was the choice to make a normal decision, they had loss that occurred. All because of an abnormal situation, but a normal choice. And so with coronavirus, you'd be surprised of the number of people that made a normal decision in an abnormal situation. Oh, toilet paper. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Toilet paper. How does buying extra toilet paper help you? But people started fighting over toilet paper before they had any options or objections with getting water. You heard no fight or fuss over water. You heard no fuss or fight over food, which is what you really need. But toilet paper, people were fighting for it. Now really think about that. So the first choice that you have to make is the situation normal or abnormal? You have to be the judge of that. Nobody can answer that for you. Why? Because you know you. So that's the first thing that I do. So for me, Corona was an abnormal situation. Abnormal. So the second thing that you have to decide is you have to make a conscious choice. See, you can't be like you do when you wake up in the morning and you just do things out of routine, the way that you drive to work. Some of the things that you do when you're at work, because you do it so much, it's a routine. And so when you're looking at making a choice, it has to be a conscious choice. So here it is. Corona has come. Corona is growing. Corona is just out of control. And so I understand that I am now in an abnormal situation. So now I really have to think about what it is I am going to do. What is my next step? What do I need to focus on? How is this going to impact me? What could be all the different things that I could possibly encounter? See, now I'm no longer just rolling out the bed. I'm really thinking about, okay, if I go to the bathroom, how long am I going to be there? What else do I need to do once I come out of the bathroom? How much time do I have? Do I have time to just relax? Did I wake up on time? Did I wake up late? See, now my decisions are very conscious. I'm not doing anything out of routine anymore because my routine was always designed for a normal situation. My routine was never designed for an abnormal situation. And so you see, there's a difference between a problem and a challenge. Problem, left hand. Challenge, right hand. Both hands, one's on the right, one's on the left. So I have to decide now. I'm in an abnormal situation. I have to make a conscious decision. So now, the decision that I make, am I looking at my decision from being a problem, or am I looking at my decision as a challenge? Oh, some may see it one and the same. But let me read the definition to you. See, a problem is a matter of situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with or overcome. A problem is a matter of situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with or overcome. You see, most people, when they heard Corona, and because Corona was out of control, it was a problem. And so the choice that they made was based on something being a problem. But you see, challenge, on the other hand, is to confront or defy boldly. To confront or to defy boldly. So now you got to ask yourself, what is Corona to you? Is Corona a problem or is Corona a challenge? You see, for me, Corona is a challenge because what Corona, they say, has the ability to do, you know what? I got to deal with that. See, I'm not going to look at it as a problem going to destroy me, so I have to confront it and defy Corona. See, I got choices. I have choices that I need to make. So I'm in an abnormal situation. I'm making a conscious choice that Corona is a challenge because it will not destroy me. Yeah, but you don't control it. I am so glad you're thinking like I'm thinking. Because one of the biggest things about making the decision is number 3, is it a controllable or an uncontrollable? See, we're thinking alike now. Because that's what you must ask yourself. Is Corona, we know it's abnormal, we know that we're making a conscious decision, But is it something that is a controllable or an uncontrollable? And truth be told, Corona is an uncontrollable. So here it is. I'm in an abnormal situation. I'm really considering the choices that I am making. And the fact is that I'm dealing with something that is uncontrollable. So you see, once I realize that something is uncontrollable, now because I'm making a conscious decision, I have to minimize the uncontrollable. See, I don't control it, so I can't stop it. But I do have the power to minimize the impact that it has on me. And so now that I know that I'm dealing with an uncontrollable situation, then the fourth thing is, like I just said, I'm looking at how it impacts my life. So now I got to do all the possible what ifs to consider my life because it's my choice. And so that's what took the time to do. I had to play what if. What if this happened at my job? I work at 2 airports. So I'm dealing with all kind of folks, international, local, you call it. I'm dealing with people I don't know, some people that I do know. I have coworkers, I have this, I have that. So I have to be able to minimize the uncontrollable. And so as I did my what ifs, I didn't stop there because I stepped on to number 5. And number 5 is you call a minimum of 2 people that you trust. And then you start to pick their brain. You ask them questions. How would they handle themselves in this situation? What are you planning on doing? What do you think about Corona? Hey, do you think this is going to be much worse? You know what? If everything just shut down, what would be 3 things that you would do before you knew it would shut down? I can tell you one I would not do. I ain't going to waste no money on no toilet paper. If I'm in a store, I'm going to get me some food. I'm going to get what I need, not what I want. Why? Because I am in an abnormal situation. And so my choices are based on an abnormal situation. So yes, I called people. We spent time engaging in conversation. Why? Because I had decisions to make. I don't have all the answers. I don't think about everything. So I call people that I trust and believe in, and I start to pick their brain. And when they thought about something that I didn't have, I made a note of it because I needed to consider it. And so the next thing that you do, number 6, is you go all the way back and remember that every choice is just conscious choice. You cannot leave that out. You cannot slip back into your normal routine. And number 7, I had to ask myself again, what do I control? Because now I am dealing in an abnormal situation, making a conscious decision with something that is uncontrollable. So I have to minimize the controllable. But you see, in number 7, that 7 is when I take control. What is it that I control? I have to make that decision. And then the last thing that you do is that I had to educate myself. I am not a scientist. I am not a chemist. But I do have common sense. And so I listen to the news. I listen to different comments that people make. Then I start to ask myself, well, if they're saying do this, then why do that? Okay, wait a minute. You've said that if you wear a mask, then you know what, we can do this, but why am I wearing a mask if the mask don't stop me from catching a disease? So I have to listen to what is being said, what is not being said, what makes sense, don't make sense. So that way, the decision that I make is the best decision that's for me and my family. Because that's who it's about. Because I'm in an abnormal situation. And so that's the thing that I'm asking you to consider. Do not do like some people and start off the wrong way. Because many people started off thinking that this was a normal situation. And it's really not. And it never was. I'm asking you to stop playing around and really think about the choices that you are making. And I really mean that. You have to think about the choices that you make. Choices you're making every minute out the day that you don't realize that you're doing. Choices that you're making for your future and you don't even realize that you actually made a choice. I'm asking you to really consider, is this something you control or you don't control it? And even though you don't control it, like I told you, minimize it. Don't make it so big that it now controls you. Because that's what some people did. They made it so big that now it controlled them. And then it's your life. How does it impact you? What is the worst it could do to you? How will this affect you? Because it's your life. Because every choice is always a conscious choice. Your choice, nobody else. So what do I do to control it? I educate myself. Because whether you like it or not, during the time of Corona, for the first time in everybody's life, throughout the entire world, the choice that they made was a choice that made the difference between living or dying. Now, I don't know about you, but if a decision I have to make could mean a difference between living or dying, that's the last thing I ever want to do, is make a choice that's out of routine. So family, I love you. It's always a pleasure of having you here on Hope TV because like I said, it's all about having hope in any given situation. The choice is yours. I'm Pastor Ron, and I know some of you saying, well, wait a minute, Pastor, you didn't use any scriptures. I know it was a choice that I made because if I use a scripture, then those people that don't go to church, the people that don't believe in God, they would never listen. But those that believe in God, that have a relationship with Him, they'll be able to tell you that, you know what, out of those 8 things, I can pull scriptures to back up what He said. So family, I love you. Stay safe.